Hello, everyone. This is Marilyn from LemLedger, and today I'm going to take you through understanding is ActiveTrack worth it in 2026 for agencies. If you're running an agency and struggling to prove what your team actually worked on, you have probably looked at this tool called ActiveTrack. But in 2026, is ActiveTrack actually worth it for agencies? So let's break it down, right? Who is ActiveTrack actually for? Who is ActiveTrack good for, rather? ActiveTrack is a great tool for internal team productivity monitoring. If you manage a remote team or a hybrid team, and want to understand how employees are spending time, which apps and websites they use, and when productivity drops, ActiveTrack gives you data dashboards, activity reports that analyze workforce behavior. And you can see here in this panel, you're able to see those kind of under here executive summaries. You're able to see exactly where your users are spending their time. They're able to see you're able to see like the technology utilization, the workforce utilization, team comparison, impact analysis. So this is for if you really want to know your productivity analytics. So ActiveTrack gives you data dashboards and activity reports that analyze workforce behavior. And managers are able to see productive time versus idle time, top apps used by the team, productivity trends across different days or even different weeks. So if your goal is internal performance analytics, ActiveTrack is powerful. And so, as you can see here on technology usage, a report would probably look something like this, right? And that will be under technology utilization here. So it will probably look something like this. The manager is able to see, okay, these are the support tools that were used. These are the activity breakdown basically that were used by the employees. These are the support tools. This is the this is just basically what they use their technology utilization, and you can even group it by category, you can do it by user, and it will just give you a very comprehensive report on what exactly each employee was actually doing. Another report could probably be like this working hours report. You're able to see, okay, Axel was it was a remote situation, and this was his first activity lasted this long, his last activity lasted this long, this was his active time, this was his productivity time, and this was his non-business time, and these are the offline meetings he attended. So if the manager really wants to see productivity trends, you want to know the working hours, then ActiveTrack is able to give a very comprehensive report on that as shown right here. But who should avoid this? ActiveTrack may not be ideal if you're running a client service agency. Now, why? Because agencies don't just need productivity data that could look like this. Now, this is a team activity alignment productivity sheet, and you're in here the manager is able to see the users, the percentage of how the users are achieving their productivity goals. They're able to see if the users are fully aligned. They're able to see if productivity time has actually increased. They're able to see the primary group with more performance. They're able to see basically productivity analytics. But when you're running a client service agency, they don't just need this kind of data. They need to prove work. They need to prove work to clients. They need proof of work to clients. Clients don't care if someone spent 3 hours on Figma or 3 hours on Google, as shown here. This is now the application and site usage report. That would be somewhere here, I believe. Yeah. Oh, here, under technology and AI usage, you'd be able to see this application usage here, and it would look something like this. But clients don't need this. They need to see, okay, was work actually done? Clients don't care if somebody spent 93 hours using Slack or their percentage time usage was 29%. They do not care about that. They want to know what deliverable was completed when you were using Slack, what progress was made when you were using Zen, what blockers existed that you were not able to complete some of the work that you had to do. Active track activity tracking alone doesn't tell that kind of story, and this is exactly what ActiveTrack does though. Now, to be fair, ActiveTrack does have some strong capabilities. Now, the first one being deep productivity analytics, as seen in this report. This is such a comprehensive detail of a team analytics on their productivity. It analyzes how employees use apps, websites, and generates detailed productivity reports over time. And this is now for a productivity report of a team. And so the manager is using this kind of data to analyze workflow patterns and to optimize workloads, because they're able to see, okay, maybe if the marketing team has so much to do, their productivity may reduce and is maybe misaligned. So if I reduce their workload and maybe give some more workload to the sales team, we can balance this thing out and we can achieve our goals, and our productivity goals will be a bit higher. Now, the second feature that is very strong on ActiveTrack is the real-time activity monitoring. Managers can see active applications, activity levels, work patterns in real time. In real time, they're able to see this kind of things, and maybe the data would look something like this or would look something like this, depending on what exactly the manager is looking for. Managers are able to see that, okay, this was the application that was used. This is the productivity type. This is the application and site. These are the number of users that were mostly using this site and for how long they use that site for. They're also able to see the work reporting hours. They're able to actively see this in real time, that, okay, Ellie has reported, Peter has not yet reported. So they're able to see this kind of data. Now, that kind of visibility is very useful for distributed teams. The teams are many, and there need to be a distribution of the workload. This kind of data is very useful, because you're able now to track by team who is actually working and who isn't doing any work. But the two frustrations for agency client relationships, right? They run into two major problems. We're going to categorize those. Now, the first is reports lack context. For example, this working hours report, it lacks context. Like, okay, Alex, his first activity lasted for 8 hours. So, what exactly was he doing in those 8 hours? Um, what did he do? His last activity lasted maybe 16. Okay, then what happened? What happened after that then? What was he doing during those things? It just lacks the context behind that. Another report could probably look like this. Like, it will show that someone, okay, worked on Slack, they worked on Figma, they worked on Chrome, but doesn't explain what deliverable was actually produced. Yes, you were using email, so what emails did you send? What did this email usage for nearly 19 hours produce? What did the use of Microsoft Excel actually produce? Right? So the reports really do look like raw activity loads instead of like client ready updates. This is not a client ready update. It's more of just a raw activity load, and it's not a client update. So clients do not understand the context behind this kind of data. And the second issue is that it can feel like surveillance instead of progress tracking. Like, for example, it really does look like surveillance, right? Like, okay, this person logged in at this time, their activity lasted this time, this was their activity time, this was the non-business time, they were not doing business for 30 seconds, 30 whole seconds, they did not do work. See, so it does kind of start to feel like um surveillance. Employee monitoring tools track activity data like mouse movement or app usage to estimate productivity. It is useful internally, don't get me wrong, but it does not translate well into client facing proof of progress. It turns out looking like surveillance instead of proof of progress, like you're just surveilling the kind of activity and the time that was taken. Now, ActiveTrack actually does offer a free plan for small teams and several paid plans for larger teams. So, in terms of pricing perspective, it's fairly accessible. It's not a tool that is inaccessible and too expensive, but the real question for agencies isn't price, it's whether the reports actually help you justify invoices. Like, does this report help you justify client invoices? Probably not. So, we have reached the final verdict. Is it worth it for agencies in 2026? Well, yeah. If you want to prove productivity analytics, if you want productivity analytics for internal team management, yes, it is worth it. But if your real goal is proving work and progress to client, then probably you probably want something designed specifically for that workflow. And this is where tools like LemLedger come in, because LemLedger is not necessarily focused in tracking raw activity. It's not focused on tracking raw activity. It is focused on deliverables, work narrative, client ready proof of progress, which is often what agencies need. And you can see here under delivery ledger, you're able to see all this kind of deliverables and work narratives up here. You can see the priority of it. So the different the different sorry the different deliverables are able to be seen by the client. They're able to see, okay, this is the deliverable for this week. It is due this time. This is the status of it. This is who was assigned to it. So they're able to tell, it's able to give an actual narrative of what is actually going to be done and what has not yet been done. So as you can see, it just, even when it's overdue, the client is able to see that, this was overdue. How come it was not yet done? So there's even a daily check-in, and this just really helps to prove work for agencies. So ActiveTrack is great for productivity insights, but agencies trying to prove work to clients, there may be clear options like LemLedger over here. And so, if you'd really love to know more about this kind of tools and how to use them, please click the URL in the description box below. Thank you very much.